Hello and welcome back. My name is Josh, and today I want to go over a company that I'm looking at adding to my portfolio. I still haven't decided if I'm going to add it, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to pull the trigger, and that is Poshmark. So, for those of you who don't know what Poshmark is, it is an online marketplace that helps people buy and sell clothing. So, I have a thesis just to go back. Um, whenever I'm analyzing a company, I try and look at it from three ways. One, do I understand the product and the market? And do I think people really value that? That's one. Two, what's the macro environment? What's changing in the world that would help propel this company forwards? And three, what's the valuation? Even if it's a great business, sometimes a great business isn't worth infinite. I love Tesla, but if shares went up to $100,000 today, I would probably sell because I don't think it's worth 100x what it is now. So things have value, and you have to say what is the value I'm ascribing to it, and you try and buy when it's below that value. So it's even if it's got growth, even if it's a great business, you have to look at valuation. So those are the three things. And there is a bit of a fourth thing. Um, Maybe it's not a fourth thing, but I was recently watching, I think it's called Dumb Money. That's the YouTube channel. And they did something called social arbitrage. I believe that's what it's called. And basically, they look on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and they try and read what the market, and by market I mean like people are saying about a specific product in order to get better information. And to me, they're using social information, Twitter, Google Trends, all that to try and understand. But really, that's all great analysts do is, if you understand what the growth rate's going to be, you can better predict growth rate, which can help you understand which way a stock's going to go. And are people really interested in Peloton? Or are they saying the product sucks? If you're hearing the product sucks from a lot of people, and maybe it's time to sell the stock because it's overvalued, and vice versa. So again, all of this is about it's important to understand data, and social information is data. It's hard sometimes to turn into data, but if you go through Twitter all day or Facebook all day, and that's what these guys do, they literally just go through social media and try to understand or use analytics tools, which there are, understand what people are saying about different products and things to better understand the environment and the product. And so I'm trying to implement that a little more using Google Trends and looking online for what people are saying. Again, it makes sense. If people hate a product, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go bad, go poorly, because people hated the Facebook refresh a couple years ago, but people are addicted to Facebook and Instagram, so they're going to keep using it. So sometimes they're false positives, but I think in general with most products, it's a good sign. If Coca-Cola comes out with a new flavor and people think it's the greatest thing ever, and you see it on Twitter and you try it yourself and you say, wow, this really is good. I think this could be big, then you could be gaining an edge on the market. Because again, the market is just an accumulation of everyone's thoughts and opinions. And so if you know something before everyone else, that can give you an edge on the market. So let's go back to Poshmark. What is Poshmark? Again, it's a marketplace. So one, the product. I personally haven't used the product, but I did download, or well, I hadn't until I ran a screener, and my screener said what companies look relatively cheap based on some valuation metrics. And Poshmark showed up along with a number of others. From there, then I try to look at the ones that make the most sense to me, and I can kind of really understand. If there's some insurance company that does some niche thing, I don't really understand it, or some tech company that's doing, I don't know, they create machines that laser silicon. Again, if it's something I don't understand, I typically don't like to analyze it because I want to understand the product. Poshmark I'd heard of. I knew it recently IPO'd, so I understood it to some degree. So that stood out, and I did a little bit of a deeper dive. Actually, did download the app. I scrolled through it, and it does seem interesting. It's a little bit of a combination of e-commerce and social media. So they try to marry those two and make it, social commerce a little. Now, I'm actually a big believer in social commerce in the future. I think that in China, social commerce is massive. They sell billions of dollars a day, people live streaming things and selling it. That's how they do social commerce. And here in North America, we're far behind, though it is growing quickly. So I think Poshmark, so if we look at the macro, one, I think social commerce, Poshmark can benefit from this growth in social commerce, which is people, again, this combination of social media and e-commerce. The second thing that I think they can grow from a macro standpoint is there's a desire for used clothing. A lot of the Poshmark stuff is used. So people go to vintage stores and resell clothes, or they empty out their closets and they resell clothing that they're no longer wearing. There's the rise in resale has been huge. People are a little turned off by fast fashion. Again, I still think fast fashion is going to continue to grow, but maybe not the rate it has. People say, hey, you know what, it's bad for the environment to keep redoing it, and I wear it for 3 months and then throw it in the garbage. So one, even if they do that, now they can resell it on Poshmark, and two, people are really trying to resell and buy used. I think mainly from an environmental standpoint, but also, why would you sell? Make a little extra cash from your closet. So this is a growing market, and I read it's going to compound at a pretty high rate. So, this is another thing that's pushing forward Poshmark. There's another company called The Real Real. They sell luxury goods that I was also looking at. I actually preferred Poshmark slightly, but they also would benefit from this resale, and they've seen a lot of buzz and hype around The Real Real. Actually, let's look at their stock just to compare real stock. Again, they do very similar thing, but they do it's been pretty flat. Okay, so Poshmark, we can see there's a terrible looking chart, straight down 76% since it IPO'd. However, when we look, the IPO, when did it IPO? It IPO'd in January. This is when the market was really hot, especially with IPOs. And you saw Airbnb, you saw Lemonade, you saw a bunch of these on day one pop 100%. So again, the way an IPO works, IPO stands for initial public offering. It's when the company goes public. You can see here, shares of online retailer Poshmark ended up the day 141% up when it debuted on Thursday. It ended at $97.50. They originally priced at $42 a share. So again, this immediate pop was because of just the market everything was popping. And obviously it did go down, but it went down to around 42, just around 40, which is where it was originally priced. So the way I see it is the original share price is probably based on some valuation by the bank, the investment bank that did it. And to me, this is probably more accurately the right price. And this run up originally was just based on hype and just the market. Now, obviously, then it went down a little, up some more, and recently you've seen it go down another 42%. So it's at almost half the price it was originally priced at. Does this make sense? So again, now we have to look into the financials and say if it makes sense. So let's go to Poshmark. So first of all, Poshmark, there haven't been that many quarters, but you can see they have had very fast growth. And again, they're a young tech company, so you'd expect growth. Margins, it's software, so very high margins, 87% margins. And actually, they're actually on an operating basis, cash flow positive. They're making margins of 22%. Now, considering gross margins are 90% almost, that seems a little low. I would expect a little higher, but maybe say 25, 30%. So again, let's look at this DCF to help us better understand what we think Poshmark might be worth. So again, I always change this to 8%, terminal value 2.5%. You can see here it's saying 110%. Now let's look at the numbers and see if we think this is realistic. Now, I often think these numbers are not realistic. It grew 27% year over year last year. They're saying it's 26, 26, 26, then increasing to 30. To me, that doesn't make sense. And then slowly tapering off. I personally would prefer to be a little conservative. So let's go 24. So last 22, 20, 18, 16, 14, then let's leave it 12, 7. That looks more realistic. And again, EBITDA margins they're saying are, again, they had operating margins of 20. They're saying EBITDA margins of even less. So again, these are very conservative numbers compared to what they were forecasting. And it still says there's 58% upside. So we look at Posh Rev Estimates. See if there's a Yahoo one. Here we go. We can see that they are estimating revenue estimates. Current year 330, next year 417. What's that growth? 417 over 320 was it? 30% growth. 330, sorry. So yeah, they're estimating 26% growth, which is exactly what, actually lower than what we had in ours. So again, experts are estimating it, and again, the fair value is still below what it originally was priced at, which is 42. But to me, that's like ballparkish. 42 sounds, to me, feels like it was about right when it was priced based on the business. Maybe the business has gotten a little worse because of the macro environment, because I read something that you'd think Poshmark was perfect for, or the pandemic was perfect for Poshmark because people were shopping online. But really, again, this is reselling of clothes. So one, if you're at home all day on Zoom, you don't really need to get clothes, because why are you going to get nice clothes? You're not, because people don't really need to see you. I now wear a t-shirt and shorts every day basically to work because I work from home. So one, that kind of might have pulled it back. And as people open up now, they want to get more clothes in their wardrobe. So they were saying that's a bit of a headwind that might have been potentially hurting the growth of Poshmark. But yeah, I still see this as, again, actually, let's bump this up to 26, which is what the estimates were, and then let's go 24. Again, you're getting close to that 42. So again, in my mind, 40-ish was about what it actually should be valued at. Unless you really think the thesis is really broken down, I still see this as a growing company. It's a marketplace, which are great. It's got great margins. It's a good business. People still seem to be using it. It is fashion, so things can go in and out of style and fashion, but for the most part, I think there's tailwinds behind this, and I really think that this business has been hit really hard for reasons that I don't think are justified. I think this continued trend has, I'm honestly not sure why it continues to go down, but it really has been hit hard. So I think I'm going to add, it's even continued, actually, you know what? Let's look at this, earnings. Its earnings date. It announces earnings on November 9th. I'm recording this on the 6th, which is a Saturday. If you're really interested, I think I would maybe wait until after the 9th. If they report a terrible earnings and they say, you know what, revenue's down a bunch, avoid it. Don't even look at it. If they announce a great earnings, you might see the stock pop a little, so you wouldn't necessarily get as good a return, but I still think it's really undervalued. So even if it popped up 10%, where was this? Oh, here, 39 is what kind of my benchmark is. If it went up 10%, it's currently at $23, right? So 10% would be another let's call it $2.50. It'd go up to $25. You're still talking significantly undervalued. So to me, I'm not always trying to chase the, do I want a 10 bagger? Yes, of course, but I'm willing to risk some of my potential upside in order to get a little more information. So if I were you, I would hit follow. I would follow this stock. I think it could be really interesting, but I'd wait until the earnings call, which is Tuesday, to see what they announce. And if they announce terrible earnings, I'll reanalyze it and look at it again. But if they announce good earnings or even like solid ones, I think it's worth investing in Poshmark. So those are my thoughts. Hopefully you've enjoyed the analysis. Let me know what you think of Poshmark. Do you use Poshmark? If so, let me know your feedback. I really do want to learn more again. I don't use the product that much, so I've only used it kind of as research. But if you do use Poshmark, let me know what you think of it. As well, if you have any other stocks you'd like me to analyze, leave them in the comment section below. Again, this is a financial journey for me. I'm always trying to learn more and try and find great stocks. And I see this as kind of a little community where I can hopefully analyze stocks and help you better understand it. One, and also you can kind of make recommendations, and I might find stocks that I never would have found otherwise, and hopefully we can find some amazing investments together. So thanks so much. Again, my name's Josh, and talk to you next time.